Hi, I am a servant of King Jesus Christ, and I had a dream. I had a dream that I felt like the Lord, that I know the Lord wanted me to come on here and talk about. So let me start. So I'm going through this very short, narrow tunnel. The tunnel was very short, so you had to crawl through it. It wasn't like a big tunnel where you could walk and move your arms. It was very short. You had to crawl through it. So when I came on the other side of this very short and narrow tunnel, I found myself in this big cavern cave type thing. Okay, it was like we were in a mountain. I'll say we're in a mountain because I call it a cavern, but we were sort of in a mountain type structure, and there was this deep cavern, this deep cave where a lot of people were in it, talking to each other, going back and forth, doing normal things. People were talking, people were laughing, people were going back and forth, and I went to the edge of the cavern, and we're on the edge of this big cliff, big cliff. And so I look down and I look around me, and then I look in the cavern, and I realize that I'm on an alien planet. Okay, bear with me, but I realize that I'm on this alien planet. And the alien planet, it closely resembles Mars. It's very red, it's reddish oranges, it's very rocky. You have a whole lot of just empty terrain. It's very interesting. It's very Mars-ish. And so I look around and I'm there, and I turn back into the cavern, and there are a lot of people talking, and there are sort of different dressed people there. Some people are wearing robes, some people are wearing like regular 2010s Earth clothes. Some people are just wearing ceremonial stuff that I haven't seen before. And then I look to my, what was it? I look to my right and I see my dad, my father. My father's standing there, and he's wearing this robe. It's like a robe, and it has this, not a sash, but like a belt, but a big belt, something that they might have worn like when Jesus was walking the earth, or in like early Jerusalem, or Saudi Arabia, sort of like that. And he had on some sandals, and he looked very calm and very poised. And so we were on this alien planet, and the aliens that were like in charge of this planet, like how we're in charge of the earth, they were hosting these games, right? And they were like, okay, humans, you can come down here, you can like parachute down from the cliff, and we'll put you in these like games where you have to sort of like, kind of like uh, what they do to mice when they're testing them. They were messing with us, they were playing with us. It's like basically, if you're a human, come down from that cavern and you can participate in these games, and the last one standing wins. So they put us in this like this little, this little this little maze or whatever. And the goal was for every human you had to be the last one standing. You had to kill everybody else and be the last one standing. That was the purpose of the game. Um, and so I was like, ooh, I looked at my dad. I was like, Dad, I don't know if I want to go down there. I don't know if I want to go down there. And he looked at me, he's like, you'll be okay. You can go down there. And I was like, okay. So I parachuted down there, and the aliens down there were brutal. They were brutal. So not only did you just have to kill all the other humans and be the last one standing, but the alien guards, at any point, it was also like a hide and seek. Like you had to kill the other humans, but you had to kill them secretly. They couldn't see you do it. And if they saw you do it, then they'd kill you. So I dropped down there, and they run us through these games. And multiple times I get killed. And these aliens, they're like they look like aliens. And when I say aliens, don't think I'm not thinking of like the traditional aliens, with the long head and the big black eyes. No, they weren't human. They did not look human. They weren't hideous or anything, but they had like longer heads. They kind of had brown skin, not black brown. They had skin like Mars, kind of like a reddish brownish skin that you don't really see on humans. Um, Sort of like I can't even describe it as a piece of wood, but it's sort of like imagine Mars, and then that's how the skin looks. And even these aliens, they have like different genders. Like the one who was running the games was like a female alien, and like she was like a tyrant. She was brutal, and so multiple times I got killed, but they kept running me back through it. They kept reviving me. It was like a loop, not a time loop because time still passed, but it felt endless. They kept reviving me. I went back in the game, got killed, and they were kept reviving me. It was hell for me. It was like a living hell. I remember the dream. I was like, somebody has to save me from this. I can't do this anymore. And I was getting angry. And then I remember one distinct moment from the dream is where I was sneaking around. I think I was kind of sneaking towards the woman alien. I don't know what I planned to do. But this guy, he was a Caucasian guy. He had brown hair and he was terrified. He jumped behind me. He grabbed me like this from behind me and he was trying to kill me. He was trying to be the last one standing. And then the female alien, the one who was running it, she looked over at her guard. She was like, there they are, kill them. And the guard literally took this alienish weapon, this like spear that was like, it had a curve at the end. It wasn't just like a regular spear. It had like a curve at the end, something you might see in an alien like sci-fi show, and plunged it through the man, and it plunged through me. And I remember because he grabbed me from behind. He was trying to like take out my breath. And you could tell he didn't know what he was doing because he wasn't even trying to go for my neck. He was just had his hands over me like that. I don't even know what. So, but he plunged the alien, plunged it through him, and then plunged it through me like a kebab. And I remember the pain I felt in the dream. And then they restarted me again after I died. And it happened again and again and again. It was hell. And then at one point, I was just sitting there. And I remember they had broken my spirit, completely crushed. I was just sitting there, just lying there. I didn't even feel like killing anybody. I didn't feel like getting killed. I was just sitting there. I was looking at that alien, that female alien. She was just enjoying herself so much. She was singing. She was so pleased to see me suffer and to see us humans suffer. And I remember I was just lying there. And then my dad came into the scene. He kind of dropped down. He didn't parachute. He just kind of, I won't even say floated. He was just kind of came down there and he started mocking her. He started sort of singing over her. He started making harsh comments about her singing. And I looked at him, I was like, Dad, stop, stop. She gonna kill you too. She gonna get you involved. Stop, stop, stop. But he didn't stop. And you could tell she was getting irritated, but she wasn't doing anything. Because remember, about this alien, she's like a tyrant. Anybody steps to her, you're dead. She's gonna put you through torture, but she wasn't doing anything. She was getting irritated. And then my father, he walked past her, and I was sitting there in the ground. I was like in this little dune, this kind of dust dune. I was just kind of lying there, just depleted and stressed. And he looked at me, and he tilted his head. He kind of squatted down a little bit. He looked at me, he tilted his head. And I'm trying to remember the words he said. He said something to the effect of, "What about Jesus? Has Jesus left you? Is Jesus not real? Jesus is still here, and he's still with you." And then I got up and my strength returned to me. And I just started praising the Lord. I started dancing around. Just started like, and I remember I started singing this song. I wish I recorded the song, but it was something. The song was something like, thank you, Jesus, for what you've done. I don't know. I was just celebrating Jesus. And then that alien, she was just like angry. She's like, why won't you stop singing? Stop singing. And she went onto her big alien computer. She was like trying to find where I was singing from. Because again, she was like, how that advanced technology, she was like, how is he able to sing right now? And then I'm like, I didn't say this in a dream, but I realized this after I woke up, that she couldn't find it because it didn't come from my brain, it came from my heart. And at the end of the dream, it wasn't clear whether we got off the alien planet or not, but it was clear that we got the victory through Jesus. So a few things to highlight about this dream before we get to the bulk of it. Number one, the reason that, if you know me, you know I'm not easily discouraged. You know I'm not like, just to say my spirit is crushed. That's a very big statement for me. But after all of that, and you know that doesn't come easy to me, especially after what me and the Lord have been through. To say that my spirit is crushed and to not be thinking about Jesus, that's not uncommon. That's has almost been impossible for me. So to say that about the dream, and what they did to me was they deceived me because they were on an alien planet, and because they ran me through that simulation thing, or that little game so many times. One of their deceptions was that Christianity, that Jesus was just an earthly thing, that it didn't, that Christianity or Jesus did not exist outside of planet Earth. Kind of like all the sci-fi stuff, right? If you watch a lot of sci-fi, if you watch some Star Trek, you know that when you get off of Earth stuff doesn't necessarily apply. Like if you watch maybe like Star Trek or something like that, or even Star Wars or any other show, Doctor Who, you realize that it Christianity to them is just like a earth mate. You don't find somebody on an alien planet talking about Jesus or God. It's just an earth thing. And so that's what they had deceived me into thinking, that Christianity was just some sort of simulation on earth to get me to think straight some type of way. And I slowly fell into that thought process over time of them putting me back. And I was just, my spirit was dead because I wasn't at all thinking about Jesus. And it took my father, again, who was just dressed in clean and white robes, to remind me that no, Jesus is not some earthly man made construct like the devil will deceive many, but he's real. And I have victory over this alien. And something else to consider is I don't believe aliens exist. I don't believe that there are, and when I say aliens, I'm talking about people. I don't believe that there are other people who exist on other planets and like all of that sci-fi stuff. It's interesting, it's cool to think about, but my I don't believe that in the slightest. Now I'm not saying there's not life on other planets, like there might be a plant on another planet that could help cure something on Earth. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I don't believe that there are people who exist on other planets. Um and I think that the universe is so big just as a testament to God's glory. But I don't believe that there are aliens. But demons have been known since aliens were a thing to use aliens as a deception, because I kind of explained this. Aliens are sort of cousins to demons. Now, I just said I don't believe aliens exist, and if we follow that logic, you understand what I'm saying. Not necessarily cousins, but demons will disguise themselves as anything to deceive people, you know? So, and especially with the whole simulation alien type beat. And so here's what I'll leave it off on. Okay. They had ran us through this endless simulation of being killed over and over again. It's something I realized by the end of this simulation was that I was the only one left. That's why I was just sitting there. Everybody else had passed away, everybody else had died, but she kept doing it to me for a reason. She kept torturing me again and again and again. So you could say a lot about this dream. And the Lord revealed to me, first thing, personally, it applied to me because he said, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff lately. He said to me, no matter what you're going through, no matter when you wake up, and I know a lot of Christians deal with this, so take this, no matter when you wake up and you feel like you're just on an endless day-to-day cycle of nothingness, that you don't have me in your life, I'm always with you, I'm always by your side. And then the deeper meaning, which applies to me, and I think can apply to you, which is why I think he wanted me to share it, is because don't follow the world. Because the world is becoming increasingly wicked because Jesus is about to return. Praise God. But that means in the Bible it says that the Lord, in Thessalonians, it said that the Lord will send these people a great deception. And when I say send, no, I'm not necessarily saying, I say go read it for yourself. No, the Lord doesn't sit there and say, yeah, deceive them. No, no, no. He will allow the Antichrist, he will allow all of these people to send a deception out to those who don't love the truth. It's sort of like a harvest type thing. And a big thing, if you look in our generation, a lot of the youth, especially a lot of the youth who are about to be leaders in our nation and in the world, they're of this mindset that, oh, we're living in a simulation. Oh, aliens are real. Literally, the Pentagon, just during the whole quarantine period, the Pentagon released footage of UFOs, like officially, like this is not a conspiracy theory. Go look on. This is like CNN, Fox. They legit did that, and it got overlooked. It wasn't talked about that much. But again, that was official to them. And so something that I know a lot of Christians have been saying and that I agree with is that when the rapture happens, because if we look at this biblically, right? After the rapture, you would think everybody becomes a Christian. We literally just saw people go up in the sky. You would think everybody becomes a Christian, right? Wrong. The majority of the world becomes even more anti-Christian than it already is. So that means somebody has to get up there and be like, say that the rapture somehow wasn't what was described in the Bible. Somebody has to get up there and say what you just saw was not proof of God or of Jesus or of the Bible actually being true. It was something else. And you know what they're going to pull? They're going to either pull aliens or they're going to pull that simulation crap. They're going to be like, oh, it was a hologram. Or they're going to be like, it was aliens. Now, there are going to be Christians during that time period. Absolutely. There are going to be people who see the rapture and they're like, oh, crap. I, I should have believed. Not just non believers, but there are going to be a lot of believers who have not fulfilled their Christ walk by doing other things who are going to look at that and be like, dang, I got to get right. So don't fall into the deception of aliens and simulations. So many people, Christianity is just something some guys, some white men made up a bunch of years ago because they didn't like women or they didn't like children or something like that. And I know that's like who thinks that, but you'd be surprised. But either way, the stance on Christianity in today's modern world is get them out of here. We don't want them here because of what a lot of so-called Christians did in the past. I'll acknowledge that. You know, a lot of Christians they called themselves Christians and Catholics, yet they went against their very belief system, killing Native Americans, rape, all of that stuff. But they put up a cross and said being racist. Even a lot of people still in America, and they just put up a Bible and say this is why I'm a sucky person because God doesn't like black people. All the rest of that. If you read the Bible for yourself, you realize that's not a Christian. That's like somebody masquerading as an evil person using the Bible to justify their actions, which is not even right. So I understand why a lot of people don't like Christianity. But it's not just that. Again, not only did the Lord say that He will allow and will send a delusion to those who already hate the truth, but again, humans' natural disposition on the gospel is hatred. Jesus literally showed these people, and you get a lot of people asking you, well, if God's real, He loves me, why can't He just appear in the sky? And I always say, if He did, would that really make a difference? Because it's a heart issue. Jesus straight up sold these people miracles, like physical, I can see miracles, and they still chose to put Him on a cross. Some still chose to follow Him for fleshly reasons. Like I was just reading in John today, how they followed Jesus because He gave them loaves and fish, not because they saw that He did it. So don't fall into the trap of aliens and UFOs and holograms and all the rest of that because it's going to be a deep deception. And ultimately, that deception is against God. That deception is against Christ. It's going to lead people away from the truth, especially in these last days. And not only is it just because in the dream they deceived me, but they didn't reward me. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. With the deception that they're trying to sell today about, oh, we're living in a simulation. Oh, Christianity was just made by men to keep you down so that you won't realize your higher self, yada, yada, yada. The payoff for believing that is, first of all, you can do any type of sin you want because you are God. If it's a simulation, then it really doesn't matter. That's the payoff. Or go have sex. Or go smoke. In fact, smoking weed is actually the one that's supposed to free you. So again, there's always a payoff. But in this dream, there was no payoff for me. It was torture. And that was the ultimate purpose of the deception. Think about that. Think about that. On earth, they're going to sell you the deception so that you can indulge in any type of sin against God. But because you believe that those deceptions, where are you going to end up? You're going to end up in hell being tortured again and again. That's the ultimate payoff. They say, let them enjoy them. And when I say they, I mean these demons, when these spirits, all of these people who are anti-Christ and have all of these spirits, they're looking at you like, let them enjoy it. Let's sell them this big deception. But in the end, they know where these demons and spirits, they know where you're going to be. So just be aware. Don't fall into that deception. And always remember, I'll leave it off with this. Always remember that Jesus Christ loves you, that Jesus Christ will always be with you. And this is a message primed towards my believers. And if you are an unbeliever, come to Jesus and you apply to the same promise. Jesus loves you whether you're a believer or an unbeliever, whether you hate him or you don't hate him. He loves you anyway. But in order to guarantee his promise in your life, come to Jesus. And that it was a good dream for me. And it was eye opening. So that's my dream. Just wanted to share that. And yeah.